It has been a messy Tuesday out there, and the rain will die down a little tonight, but it will be back, and that will spark more flood concerns toward the end of the week. We'll track it hour by hour.
Parts of a recreation area in the Daniel Boone National Forest has been closed because of flooding. Why forestry leaders say it's bad timing.
Breaking statewide right now at 6 o'clock, the new WKYT Herald Leader Bluegrass Poll and who's ahead in the race to be Kentucky's next governor.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. WKYT News starts now with First Alert Weather.
Good evening. Tonight, a soaking rain continues to fall across much of Kentucky, and it's been heavy at times.
This rain has raised the risk of flooding following heavy rain and snow last week. We begin tonight with meteorologist Jim Caldwell. He's tracking both the rain and the flood threat. Boy, it just won't let up, will it?
No, it won't. Some folks are seeing a little break, but they're even getting more light showers passing through. So overall, it's still a messy, messy evening out there. As we look at Defender, you see all of the showers. See that area to our northeast and out toward Ashland and beyond? That was passing through here earlier. Now it's gone. But the problem is we still have the lingering showers that will remain in our area for the next several hours. We put it into motion. You see what's been happening. That big slug of moisture out. Showers on hit and miss variety now filling in behind that, and plenty of cloud cover to go along with it. Visibility will remain low for a lot of us here through the evening as well. Our 3-day threat track kind of answers all the questions right here for you, because we're talking about more rain chances each day. Now on Wednesday and Thursday, they're not as widespread until maybe late in the day on Thursday. That's when it becomes a little heavier. But on Friday, widespread heavy rain again with another 1 to 3 inches possible. That falls on top of about 1 to 2 in many cases out there from today. So it could end up being a messy end of the week and going into the weekend. We'll track it coming up for you.
Jim, thank you. It is a place where people go to relax and have fun, but tonight parts of the Daniel Boone National Forest are underwater.
Some boat ramps, campgrounds, and roads around Cave Run Lake are now flooded. Many visitors will have to be turned away because those areas are just too dangerous. Our Sam Smith continues our First Alert Weather Team coverage from Rowan County.
Gates are up at the Daniel Boone National Forest because Cave Run Lake is overflowing. Floodwaters are covering roads, parking lots, and boat ramps.
And we're having to close some of these areas down for public safety.
Acting District Ranger Tim Ealing says he hasn't seen flooding like this since 2011.
You can't even get to the boat ramp with your vehicle.
He says March is usually the start of their busy season.
We start getting a lot of college spring break students coming in to the forest, plus just people have cabin fever and they want to get out.
The weather is keeping a lot of folks away from the forest. No one is allowed on several boat ramps, campgrounds, and picnic areas right now anyway. Now, as the level of the lake rises, more areas could close.
You don't want to drive through standing water. You don't know how deep it is, how fast it might be flowing. There's debris floating in the water right now, whether it's logs or trash or whatever. So just a lot of potential obstacles out there.
Ealing wants to remind people that parts of the forest are still open.
Plan accordingly and make sure the place they want to go is actually open, that it's not closed. Call ahead.
In Rowan County, Sam Smith, WKYT.
The lake conditions damaged some boat docks when it was frozen. The docks will be repaired once the water level on the lake goes back down to normal.
Tonight, many people who lost water service in Estill County now have it back. Yesterday, more than 2,000 people were without water after emergency managers say debris blocked a water intake structure in the Kentucky River. Today, 500 people are still without water, and as Monique Blair tells us, county leaders are still running into problems.
How's your water situation at home?
Not good.
Been rough.
Two separate issues have caused the Estill County water crisis. First, a water intake in the Kentucky River was clogged with debris and a fallen tree. That issue was fixed yesterday, but a water crisis is still present until the water tanks can fill back up.
We still have several people that do not have any drinking water or any water at all.
And the water has to be tested to make sure it's safe to drink.
Well, we got some water that comes through the sink, but its taste is awful. I tried boiling it and tried to drink it, and it's just bitter like quinine.
Estill County Emergency Management says they do expect all water advisories to be lifted sometime Thursday. But for this Millers Creek area and several other communities, that's a different story. About 200 different homes in the Millers Creek and surrounding areas are enduring the second crisis issue. A main water line that runs across the river is broken, and many residents haven't had water since last week.
We try to have redundancy issues in place to take care of these things. When those fail, the backup fails, the backup to the backup fails, it really throws us in a bad spot.
Water companies are working hard to get a new line in, but that has proven to be difficult with all the rising waters and flooding. Crews haven't been able to assess the situation. In Estill County, Monique Blair, WKYT.
Construction is expected to begin on the main water line in those select communities, but there's no word on when those people will have their water service fully functioning again. In parts of eastern Kentucky, mudslides are coming dangerously close to some homes. A mudslide in Floyd County blocked a creek and sent the water rushing toward one woman's home.
Water was up to the top of the wall back there, in the back of my home, coming over. It was coming over the wall, the retaining wall that I have to protect my house.
Well, that woman says friends and family helped her clear a nearby ditch to divert all that water before it made it into her house. The mudslide was on private property next door. Some of you have been sharing your eyewitness pictures of the flooding with us today. Jamie posted this picture to our Facebook page. It shows high water covering Muddy Ford Road in Scott County. If you have pictures, we'd love to see them. Just look for the eyewitness tab on WKYT.com or post them to our Facebook page.
Some strange and disturbing accusations tonight against a Scott County man. Police say he duct taped his ex-wife, drew obscene pictures on her body, and even told their son to draw on her back. Georgetown police arrested 29-year-old Zachary Shelton. He's facing many charges, including kidnapping and assault. Victor Puente talked to a neighbor. He's tracking this investigation tonight.
Zach Shelton has been here at the Scott County Detention Center since just after midnight on Sunday. Court records say he duct taped his ex-wife to the ground and got their son to help. His arrest citation says the victim was at his home on Alumni Drive to visit their son Sunday night. Says that's when Shelton tied her feet and hands together using duct tape. Once she was restrained, she told police Shelton drew male genitalia on her forearm and face, then also had their son draw on her back. His neighbors said they didn't see police at the home.
Well, it really surprised me. In this neighborhood, I'd never heard of anything quite that traumatizing.
The citation also says the victim was restrained for 20 minutes and that during the ordeal she was slapped in the stomach and drug across the floor, causing rug burn. It says police found a picture of her taped to the floor. Shelton is charged with kidnapping, assault, unlawful transaction with a minor, and harassment. It says Shelton told police he did tape her and draw upon her, but that it was all in fun and he didn't have any ill intent. His neighbor doesn't agree.
That is terrible. That is terrible. He needs to be in jail.
We asked Shelton if he wanted to share his side of the story to see if it matched up with that arrest citation. He told jail workers he didn't want to speak to the media. In Scott County, Victor Puente, WKYT.
Georgetown police have said they are not commenting on the arrest because the investigation is ongoing. Lexington police are still looking for the man they say shot a 9-year-old boy over the weekend. Now they're turning to Spanish-speaking news outlets for help. Police say the boy's father speaks Spanish and the suspect in a composite sketch they released is Hispanic. So police are now reaching out to the bilingual newspaper, The Voice of Kentucky.
There are channels to solve these problems. The main issue we got is the language barrier when you're dealing with an young immigrant community. So I think we somehow work in the function of being a bridge of communication.
He also says an issue of trust could also keep some people in the Hispanic and immigrant communities from sharing what they know about this case with police.
We are now a little more than 2 months away from the primary election, and the race for Kentucky governor features a crowded field of candidates, especially on the Republican side. Tonight, the newly released WKYT Herald Leader Bluegrass Poll reveals who the frontrunners are at this point. Bill Bryant has the poll results new at 6.
Good evening. Who will get the keys to the Kentucky governor's mansion? The battle lines are already being drawn. First, in our WKYT Herald Leader Bluegrass Poll, we look at who Democrats and Republicans want to be their party's nominees. The biggest battle is on the Republican side. Our poll found former Louisville Metro Council member and businessman Hal Heiner is in the lead with 28%. In second place, it's a tie between Agriculture Commissioner James Comer and Louisville businessman Matt Bevin, who tangled last year with now Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. Former State Supreme Court Justice Will T. Scott trails behind them. But 1 in 4 Republicans, 25%, remain undecided in what is shaping up to be a tight race. The Bluegrass Poll found on the Democratic side the race is nowhere nearly as close. Attorney General Jack Conway has a commanding lead over Jeff Young, a retired engineer from Lexington. 61% of Democrats polled say Conway is their pick. So with Conway the likely Democratic nominee for governor, which Republican stands the best chance in November? Well, it's a toss-up, really. The Bluegrass Poll found Conway with a slim 2% lead over James Comer should they face off in November. Attorney General Jack Conway leads by 3 points in a head-to-head matchup with Hal Heiner. Conway has a 6-point lead over Matt Bevin should they both win their party's primaries in May and move on to the November general election. Survey USA conducted the Bluegrass Poll for WKYT, the Herald Leader, and our 2 partners in Louisville. Last week, they surveyed more than 2,200 adults. Bill Bryant, WKYT.
And you can learn more about the results of the Bluegrass Poll. Just go to WKYT.com.
If you're an AT&T wireless customer, you may have had trouble making phone calls this afternoon. A manager at an AT&T store in Lexington says a problem caused voice calls to go down about 3 this afternoon. Customers were still able to text. The outage was reported across the state. Service is now beginning to come back.
Tonight, police hope surveillance pictures will help them find 2 men they say robbed a Nicholasville gas station.
It happened overnight at a speedway on North Main Street. Nicholasville police say the 2 masked men grabbed the clerk and forced him to open the cash register. Police say they arrived just moments later, but the robbers were already gone. Police say the 2 men stole some money. 10 people have been sentenced for an international wire fraud scheme that investigators say operated in Lexington. The U.S. Attorney's Office says the scheme began in Eastern Europe. Investigators say the people convicted used legitimate websites to advertise non-existent cars for sale. Victims were told to wire money to pay for the cars, but they ended up losing their money. Investigators say there were more than 500 victims in the scheme who combined lost more than $2 million. The sentences range from 3 years to 12 years in federal prison.
Some big changes are being proposed for the stretch of Alumni Drive through the University of Kentucky campus. UK wants to add 2 roundabouts to Alumni Drive between Tates Creek Road and Nicholasville Road. UK leaders say the changes could help ease traffic flow through that area. Plans call for Alumni Drive to be reconstructed in phases beginning next month and continuing through September.